Okay, good morning, guys. How are you doing today? Good morning, online. Online, good morning. Hi, Saujanya, Venu, Supriya. Yes, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. Okay, so hope everyone are doing good. Okay, by any chance, Route 53. Anyone tried? Huh? Tried, huh? Worked. Where did you try it? Route 53. Where did you purchase the domain first? Huh? Private will not work. The domain should be there, no, first. But at least you created, no? Yeah. Okay, so at least you have seen that Route 53, how it works and all. So if you are interested, please complete that practical by purchasing domain in GoDaddy. So let's move on to today's very important topic. So what is that today's topic? VPC. Online, can you please confirm? Can you see my screen and can you hear me well? So what is the full form of VPC? Virtual Private Cloud. What is that? Virtual Private Cloud. Okay. What I want here is from this class, especially from today's class, you should be very, very, very interactive like before, like now, right? So whenever I ask something, you have to be very proactive, interactive, right? So this, especially this VPC, I have to, if I want this VPC to inject in your brains, so I need more interactive. When I say something, try to repeat it. When I ask something, say it. Okay, na? Online, okay? Like that only this will get injected. Otherwise, you will get pain, I'm telling you. Okay? So I'll try my best to make you understand in the easiest way this VPC. And also, I bet after completing this VPC, within few minutes, you will set up the entire infrastructure with VPC within few minutes. Okay, let's see. So we know very well about this VPC. In order to secure your entire infrastructure, what we need to have? VPC. So every every server, every database, everything till now, whatever that we have done the practicals, everything is within the VPC or not? So till now we are using the default VPC. Remember, till now we are using the default VPC. From now onwards, no more defaults. Enough, right? So from now onwards, no more default VPCs, no more default security groups, no more default things anymore. So after this class, you all become AWS architects. So now you should behave as an AWS architect. So you should not use the default things anymore. From now onwards, we need to create everything by ourselves and we need to use it. So can we say VPC is like a virtual data center on the cloud? Can we say that? VPC is like a virtual data center on the cloud. VPC is regional or global? VPC is regional or global? VPC is regional. How many VPCs you can create? Maximum 5 VPCs per region you can create. And do you all agree that we already have a default VPC? We already have a default VPC provided by AWS. So what I'm gonna do is here now, I'll show you one diagram. I'll show you one diagram. I'll put the diagram here. Just see the diagram for a few seconds and just let me know what are the things that are there inside the diagram. Just try to read it out offline, and online, please put it in the chat. Okay. So this. Hmm. See this diagram and then tell me this architecture and tell me what are the things that you are able to see. Do you remember come from outer layer? AWS, region. Inside the region we have VPC. Inside the VPC we have availability zone. That is very common. After that, hmm, see. See the diagram. Or just try to read it. No. See the diagram. What are the new things that you can see there? Ah, huh? NAT gateway. Subnets. Public subnet. Private subnet. Router. Internet gateway. What is that? Ah, route tables. Very good. What is that? Route tables. So do you see this here? So let's forget about that outer layer AWS. Inside we have the region VPC availability zone. That is very common. So here, the main thing that you can see here is, of course, we are talking about the VPC, right? And then we have something called, what is this? Say that one more time. Internet gateway. So we have the internet gateway and we have how many types of subnets are there? Two types of subnets. What are those? Public subnet, private subnet. Say that again. Public subnet, private subnet. Public subnet and then private subnet. And then what do you have here? NAT gateway. What do you have? And what we have here? Route tables. So list down, say one by one. Number one is VPC. Number two, number three, public subnet and then private subnet. Number four, number five, one more time. Order is important. So number one is VPC. Number two, number three, number four, number five, correct? So let's concentrate on this topic. These are the only things that we have it here, correct? So the first thing what we have here is VPC. After that, internet gateway, public and private subnets, NAT gateway. Can I say router with routing tables? Router with routing tables. So these are very important for now. Let's take one by one. And by the way, VPC is the one which you are talking about. VPC is a virtual private cloud. So inside the VPC, Nana, I'm asking one question. Till now, you have launched so many EC2 instances. Till now, you have launched so many EC2 instances and you have logged in inside the EC2 instance and you have access. Can you tell me inside the EC2 instance, do you have internet access or not? Think and answer. Do we have internet access from the EC2 instance or not? Yes or no? Have you not ever access internet from EC2 instance? Yes or no? Answer is yes. Very good. So you have internet access from the EC2 instance. For that reason only, we can download the packages, we download the patches, and then we do everything, CLIs, everything works, right? So basically, from the EC2 instance, we have internet access. Who is providing that internet access? Is it your internet or the AWS internet? Within the EC2, it is AWS only, no? Your internet will work to connect to AWS. That's it. And inside the AWS, we have the internet. No. So here inside your VPC, who is the guy who is providing the internet is internet gateway. Which one? So internet gateway is the guy who is providing the internet to the VPC. If someone asks, what is internet gateway? What do you say? Which provides internet to the VPC. Say that. Which provide internet to the VPC. If I ask you, which is the guy who's provide internet to your VPC? Internet gateway. Louder. Internet gateway. So internet gateway is the guy who provides the internet to your entire VPC. Now, first we create a VPC, and then next we create an internet gateway, and then we attach to the VPC. What is that? Attach to the VPC. Create internet gateway, attach to VPC. Say that. Create internet gateway, attach to the VPC. Online, say this. Create internet gateway, attach to the VPC. Now, whenever you create an internet gateway, it will be in ideal state. Is there any use? So what we need to do? We need to attach to the VPC. What is the first step to create a VPC? What is the first step, Nana? To create a VPC. What is the second step? Create internet gateway and attach to the VPC. What is the first step? Create VPC. Second step, create internet gateway and attach to the VPC. Which is the component providing internet to your VPC? Internet gateway. Which one? Internet. Don't think too much. Whatever I'm asking, answer that. Okay. So which is the component which provide internet to your VPC? Internet gateway. Okay. So first, internet gateway. In shortcut, I call it as IGW. What is that? What is IGW? Provides internet to the VPC. Internet to the VPC. Okay, good. So we know that internet gateway is the guy who provides the internet to the VPC. What is the next thing we have? After internet gateway, what we have? Public subnet and then private subnet. Nana, there are two types of subnets. How many types of subnets? Two types. What are those? Public subnet, private subnet. Public subnet meaning you know very well which is public, which is exposed to the internet. Private subnet meaning which is exposed to internet, which is not exposed to the internet. Let's say, for example, you have databases, application servers, all these things are there, no? So in which subnets would you keep all these things, public or private? Database servers, application servers, all these things should be in which network? Private subnet. Which subnet? Private subnet. Let's say load balancer. There are servers which are exposed to internet. So in which subnet would you keep all these things? Public subnet. So do you all understood which subnet, which components need to be put in public subnet, which components should be put in the private subnet? Anything which is application server, database, anything which is want to secure it, everything should be inside the private subnet. And if you think if any component which needs to expose to the internet, then go for the public subnet. Understood? So public subnet and then private subnet. There are two types of subnets. Number one is public subnet. What is public subnet? Which is exposed to internet. What is private subnet, Anna? Which is not exposed to internet. Which is not exposed to internet. You're getting it slowly? So what is the first step? We need to create a VPC. What is the second step? Create internet gateway attached to the VPC. Number third step, what we need to create? Create public subnets, private subnets. Create what? Public subnet, private subnet. Okay, not till here? Okay, slowly. Now I'm asking the question, think and answer here. See, there are two types of subnets, no? What are those subnets? Public subnet, private subnet. Public subnet is exposed to internet. Now tell me, all traffic in the public subnet, listen this carefully, all traffic in the public subnet, whatever the traffic that is in the public subnet is routed to where? Is routed to? Who provides internet access? Internet gateway. So here all traffic, public subnet traffic is routed to internet gateway. Number first catch here. So what is the catch here? So public subnet traffic is routed to, louder, Public subnet traffic is routed to internet gateway. So Nana, what this is a public subnet, and whatever I do inside the everything should be exposed to internet. No, because this is a public subnet. How it is getting exposed to internet? Through internet gateway. So for that reason, all traffic inside the public subnet is routed to internet gateway. You understand this point? You understood this point, right? Here I'm asking. Here I'm writing here. Public subnet traffic is routed to internet gateway. This is first catch. Please keep this in mind. Okay, now we know this public subnet traffic is routed to internet gateway. And how about the private subnet? Now here, first of all, tell me, do we need to have internet access from the private subnet? Yes or no? From the private subnet, you don't want internet access? Generally, in real time, we need to have internet from the private subnet. In private subnet also, we have servers, no? And that server should also be connected to the internet. So private subnet also need to have internet access. Now tell me, we know this, all traffic in the public subnet is routed to internet gateway. Now all traffic in the private subnet is routed to internet gateway. If it is routing to internet gateway, what subnet that will become? Public subnet. So is it good to send the traffic to internet gateway? No. So I should not expose to the internet gateway. So which one will come into picture here is NAT gateway. Which one, Nana? NAT gateway. So NAT gateway has born to provide internet access to the private subnet. The job of NAT gateway is to provide internet to the private subnet. So now if I ask the question, all traffic in the in the private subnet is routed to NAT gateway, second catch. Now public subnet traffic is routed to internet gateway. Private subnet traffic is routed to NAT gateway. You're getting it? This is the second catch. So here I'm writing private subnet traffic is routed to NAT gateway. Okay. Now question here is, sir, what is NAT gateway? What is NAT gateway? What is the purpose of the NAT gateway, Nana? To provide internet to the private subnet. To provide internet to the private subnet. So the full form of NAT is network address translator. What is it? Network address translator. As the name clearly says this, what it is doing? What is translating? Network address. Network address meaning what? IP address. Network address is nothing but IP address. What it is doing is, see this carefully here. Now in the private subnet, let's say this is a database called 10.0.1.5. This is public. This is public IP, private IP, private IP. So this private IP needs to talk to the internet. Your database server needs to talk to the internet. So the traffic will go to where? NAT. It go to the NAT gateway. The NAT, what the NAT gateway do is, it will convert this private IP to public IP. What the NAT will do, it will convert the private IP to public IP. That public IP will be exposed to the internet. It will mask. What does it do? It will mask. So it will convert. What the NAT gateway do is, NAT gateway convert private IP to public IP. For that reason, your database servers are not exposed to internet. It will convert to the public IP and it will go to the internet. If any hacker comes inside like this with that public IP, he will come here and then IP got changed. No, can he able to go to database here? No, IP address got changed here, so he cannot go anywhere. So the job of the NAT gateway is what, Nana? It will convert private IP to public IP. NAT will convert private IP to Public IP. What is the job of NAT gateway? This is okay. But what is the NAT gateway used for? NAT is used to provide. What is the purpose of the NAT? NAT is used to provide internet to the private subnet. So remember, NAT here, what is the full form of NAT? Network Address Translator. So what is the job, purpose of the NAT? It provides internet to the private subnet. What does the NAT will do? It will convert private IP to the public IP. Remember, Chitty, NAT gateway meaning blindly say that it provides internet to the private subnet. If there is no private subnet, do we need NAT? If there is no NAT, no private subnet. For public subnet, who is there? Internet gateways. For private subnet, who is there? NAT gateways. But the question now here is, this NAT gateway should be in public subnet or private subnet? NAT gateway should be in which subnet? Why? It is there in the diagram, right? So I'll tell you, see, the reason here is, see, now if the NAT gateway is in private subnet here, this traffic is exposed to internet gateway. So this will become public subnet. So is it good to keep it in private subnet? No. So if it keep it in private subnet, is there any internet access? No internet access. So for that reason, your NAT gateway should be in which subnet? Public subnet. It is another catch. NAT gateway should be in which subnet? Public subnet. NAT gateway should be in public subnet. So NAT gateway should be in public subnet. NAT gateway should be in public subnet. Is this clear till here, everyone? I'm repeating. What is the first step? Create VPC. What is the second step? Create internet gateway and attach to VPC. What is third step? Create a public subnet. What is for next step? Create a private subnet. After creating public subnet, after creating private subnet, after that, what we need to create? NAT gateway. Fantastic. This NAT gateway should be in which subnet? Public subnet. And who is providing internet to your VPC? Internet gateway. Public subnet traffic is routed to internet gateway. Private subnet traffic is routed to NAT gateway. NAT gateway should be in which subnet? Public subnet. And then NAT, what is the purpose of the NAT? It will convert private IP to public IP. So what does the NAT will do? It provides internet to the private subnet. Clear? Super. Slowly, aram se. So now see here, we discuss about VPC, internet gateway, public and private subnet, NAT gateway. What is the next thing we have? Routing tables. What we have, Nana? Routing tables. Here we have a router. What's router? Which routes the traffic. Like a, we have a traffic police is there. No. What does he do? He will route the traffic. No. Right? Everyone will come to him and then he'll be routing the traffic. Similarly here also, all traffic in the VPC will come to the router. But remember, you no need to create a router. You no need to set up router. Router is inbuilt in AWS. You no need to worry about it at all. So otherwise, you need to learn CCNA, Cisco routing, that routing, this routing you need to learn. Otherwise, not required here. So here, forget about router. Let's talk about only routing tables. What is a routing tables? So in routing tables, what do we have? We add routes. In routing table, what we add? Routes. There will be two types of routing tables will be there. How many types of routing tables? Two. Public routing table, private routing table. How many types are there? Two types. What are those? Public routing table, private routing table. Nana, listen this carefully. Public routing table. All traffic is routed to internet gateway. Private routing table, all traffic is routed to NAT gateway. Another important thing. Public routing table, which subnet is associated? Public subnet or private subnet? Public subnet. In private routing table, which subnet is associated? Private subnet. Simple. Khatam. Right? So here, let me write this. So here we have a router. Do we need to worry about the router now? No. There are two types of routing tables. What are those? Public RT. RT meaning routing table. Public routing table. In public routing table, tell me all traffic is routed to super, is routed to internet gateway. Which subnet is associated? Public subnet is associated. Similarly, we have what routing table? Private routing table. You tell me here. Private route table. All traffic is routed to NAT. Which subnet is associated? Private subnet is associated. Clear? Online, is this clear, Nana, till here? These are the very important points in VPC. If you understand these points, VPC is 2GB. Many people will get confused with the logic. Many people will confuse with the order. Order you should not change. If the order is changed, VPC is gone. Right? So now tell me, what is the order? Number 1, create VPC. Number 2, create internet gateway and attach to the VPC. Number 3, create public subnet. Number 4, create private subnet. Number 5, create NAT gateway. NAT gateway should be in which subnet? Public subnet. And also NAT gateway need one elastic IP. NAT gateway need one elastic. We need to assign one elastic IP to NAT gateway. Keep that in mind. So NAT gateway, after the NAT gateway, what we need to create? Routing table. Which routing table? Public routing table. In public routing table, all traffic is routed to internet gateway. Which subnet is associated? Public subnet. In private, next is private route table. In private route table, all traffic is routed to NAT gateway. And which subnet is associated? Bus. Injected. Huh? Don't shake your head too much because it will fall from your head. It went to your subconscious mind now. Right? So now I'm telling you, with this knowledge, you can set up the VPC within 5 minutes. And I'm telling you, this VPC concept that we are learning, companies will pay lakhs of rupees for consultants to set up the VPC. But we will do it in 5 minutes. We'll do it in 5 minutes. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. So one by one, let's go a little bit more deeper now. So now, where are we, Nana? We are in the internet. Yes or no? We are in the internet. This is your laptop. What is this? This is your laptop. See here. Can you connect from your laptop to your public subnet? Yes or no? Yes, because that is exposed to the internet, it will work. Can you connect to the private subnet servers from your laptop? Answer is no. 100% no. Why? That is a private. But if I need to connect from my laptop, if I need to connect to the private servers, how do I do? So here, what you need to do is, you need to launch one EC2 instance in which subnet? Public subnet. And this EC2 instance, we call it as Bastion server. What is that? Bastion server, or we call it as jump server. What is that? What is that? Bastion server or jump server. So if you want to, from your laptop, if you want to connect to your private server, you need to log into jump server. And from there, you will be connecting to the database server. Because your not only database, your anything, whatever is there in the private subnet, you can connect. Now, a private subnet is exposed to the internet? No. As it is not exposed to the internet, you cannot connect to the private subnet. How do you connect to the private subnet? Through Through Bastion server. So you log into the Bastion server, and from the Bastion server, you can connect to the private subnet. You understand what is the job of Bastion server or jump server? First, you connect to the Bastion, and from there, you connect to the private servers. Getting it? So I'll tell you how it works in the real time. I'll tell you how it works in the real time. So in real time, you'll be working from internet or you'll be working from company. You'll be working from the company. Company will have public network or private network. Okay. Company has a private network. Private network. Tell me, Nishiti, from company, how are you connecting to the AWS? Through? Super. Through what, Nana? VPN. What is VPN? Virtual Private Network. This is AWS VPN. What is it, Nana? AWS VPN. How are you connecting to the AWS? Through the VPN. Now tell me, AWS VPN is a public network or private network? Private. And here your network is private to private or not? Private to private. See, you are sitting inside the company, and if you want to connect to the private subnet, do we need to go like this? Do I need to go like this? No need. I can directly connect to the private subnet because you are on the VPN. So this is the real time. In real time, how does it work? You will be sitting inside the company and you already have a VPN. From your company, directly you can connect to the private subnet. Nana, as we are in the internet now, are we sitting in the company now? No, we are where now? We are in the internet. If you are in the internet, right? If you are in the internet, you need to connect through internet. If you are internet, you are connecting through Bastion, and from Bastion to private subnet, you can connect. But if you are in the real time, through VPN, you can directly connect to the private subnet. And now, there is also one more scenario, which is so-called work from home. Yes or no? I'll say this also real time. So if you have work from home, that means you are sitting inside the home. Inside the home is public network, private network. Public network. And how you need to connect to the AWS? So your company will give you the VPN to you. In your laptop, you will be having a VPN, your company VPN. Using that company VPN, you will be connecting to the company first. Once you connect to the company, already AWS VPN is there, no? From here, you will get connected to your AWS. So here, this is company VPN. You'll connect to the company VPN, and indirectly you will be inside the company network. As the company network has a VPN already to AWS, you will be connecting to the AWS. So this is first scenario. This is second scenario. This is third scenario. Now you tell me which scenario we are at the moment. Third scenario. So in order to connect to the private subnet, so which is the component that we should use? Bastion server. So we will be doing the practical with the third scenario. Is it possible to do the scenario with the first scenario? No. Second scenario? No. We don't have VPN. We don't set up the VPNs there. So for that reason, we'll go with the third scenarios. So that is bloody actual real time. So number one, what is number one here? Actual real time. Number two, work from home to AWS. And number three is for what purpose? Na? Learning purpose. Is this clear? Third point. Huh? So third point, Divya and others. Okay, see here. First point, you know very well, if you are sitting inside the company, how do you connect to the AWS? Through VPN, that we know. Second scenario is you are working from home. From home meaning you have public network, private network, public. And how you connect to your company network using VPN. Which VPN? Company VPN. Company VPN, they will provide one firewall, like, Cisco or WatchGuard or something they will provide. So you connect the company VPN indirectly, you will be inside the company network, and from that company you will be connected to the AWS. And third scenario is, which is our scenario. We are in the public network or private network? Public network. We are in the public network. So from public network, if you want to connect to the private subnet, how do you do? Through Bastion. So you need to launch one EC2 instance in which subnet? Bastion in public subnet, and then we log into the public subnet. We log into the Bastion server first, and there we need to log into the private subnet. Understood, Nana? Divya? Is this clear, guys? You getting it? Okay. Now you understood till here, everyone? Repeat with me. What is the first step? Create a VPC. Second step, create internet gateway and attach to the VPC. Third, create public subnet. 4, create private subnet. 5, create a NAT gateway. In which subnet? And associate one elastic IP. 6, create a which routing table? Public routing table. In public routing table, we need to add the route, no? What is that route? All traffic is routed to. Do you see this here? All traffic meaning what? 0000/0 routed to where? Internet gateway. Do you see? This is the route table. Now, this is the route. What route table is? Public route table or private route table? Because it is attached to which subnet? Public subnet. That's why this will become a public routing table. In public routing table, we need to add one route. No, what is that route? All traffic is routed to where? Internet gateway. What is the 7th step? Create a private route table and add a route. What is the route? All traffic is routed to that gateway. And which subnet is associated for the private routing table? Private subnet. For public routing table, which subnet is associated? Public subnet. Clear? Online, is this clear, Nana, till here? Okay. How many types of subnets are there? 2 types of subnets. What are those? Public subnet, private subnet. Can you directly, from your laptop, can you directly connect to the private subnet? No. Okay. I'm asking one question, think and answer. Think and answer. The first thing that you're getting from your mouth is wrong answer always. Remember. Which region we are using? Mumbai has how many subnets? 3 subnets. Subnets. How many subnets? These 3 subnets are public subnets, are private subnets, or both. I said think and answer. Think and answer. What you are doing till now, practicals, think that and say public subnet, private subnet, both. Think and answer. If it is public, are you connecting? If it is private, are you connecting or not? Think and answer. Public, private, both. What is your final answer? The answer is hello. Answer is public. Answer is public. Why? Let's see the reason. Nana, you have launched so many EC2 instances till now. Are you able to connect to this EC2 instance? If you are able to connect to the EC2 instance, the subnet is public or private? And anytime you are not able to connect to the EC2 instance, no, right? Every time you are able to connect. So those subnets are public or private? So Mumbai VPC has a private subnets? No. All these 3 are what subnets? Public subnets, because you have launched in 1A, you have launched in 1B, you might have launched in 1C also, and every Every EC2 instance you're able to connect. So all these three subnets are public or private? Public. Now another question I'm asking. Does the Mumbai VPC has a NAT gateway or not? Hmm? Does the Mumbai VPC has a NAT gateway or not? Answer is yes or no? Answer is no. Why? Because there is no private subnet. If there is no private subnet, what is the use of NAT? So Mumbai VPC has only public subnets. Okay, the Mumbai VPC has internet gateway? Obviously, yes. Because public subnet is there, definitely internet gateway should be there. As there is no private subnet, there is no use of NAT. So is there any NAT to the Mumbai VPC, default VPC? No NAT. Logic. You understand the logics? Okay, now. Is it clear till here? So now tell me those steps. I'll write the steps here. Number one, what's the first step? Create VPC. What is the second step? Create internet gateway and attach to the VPC. Very good. Next, third step. Create public subnet. Next, create private subnet. Next, create a NAT gateway. So this NAT gateway should be in which subnet? Public subnet. And it should have what? One elastic IP. Good. Next, create a public routing table. In public routing table, all traffic is routed to internet gateway. Which subnet is associated? Public subnet is associated. Number 7, create private route table. All traffic is routed to NAT. Which subnet? Private subnet is associated. And then when you're launching the EC2 instance, which security group we will select all the time? Default security group. But is it good to use default security groups now? So now eventually what we do is, Nana, here, we'll set up a new VPC by ourselves. Let us not use the default VPC anymore now. We will set up our own VPC. We will set up our own VPC. We'll set up our own internet gateway. We'll set up our own public subnet, private subnet, NAT, routing tables, everything we do. And what we do is, and you have two subnets already, public subnet to private subnet. So we are in which scenario? First scenario, second or third? Third scenario. That meaning how many EC2 instances we need to launch? 2. One is in public subnet. What is that EC2 instance called? Bastion server. And another EC2 instance we launch in public subnet. So what is our job here? What is our goal here? To connect to the private server through Bastion. So is it good to use default security group or create a new security group? So what's the next step here? Create a new security group. And if you are using Linux, which protocol you need to allow? SSH. If you are using Windows, RDP. So next, we created a new security group. After that, we need to launch EC2 instance. No, launch EC2 instance in which subnet? In public subnet. What is that called? Super Bastion. Okay. And another in private subnet. What is that called? Any server. I call it as private server. And eventually, after that, what we do is now we need to try connecting to private server through Bastion. If you achieve this, VPC architecture is done. Okay, na? Is it clear, Nana? Till here, online and everyone injected. Hmm? I'll not aim for your brain. I'll aim for your subconscious mind. If I inject in brain, there is a chance of leaving, but subconscious mind, it will like not. Hmm? Very good, Nana. Very good. Can you tell me? I don't repeat. Can you tell me those 10 step out and I'll listen. Step number one. Hmm. Step number two. Hmm. Three. Hmm. Four. Five. NAT gateway in public subnet. Very good. Six. Public route table. For public route table, all traffic is routed to internet gateway. Which subnet associated? Number seven. Private route table. All traffic is routed to NAT. Which subnet is associated? After that, we need to create a new security group. After that, launch EC2 instance in public subnet. What is that EC2 instance? Bastion. And launch another EC2 instance in private subnet. Call it as private server. And what is our aim? To connect to the private server through Bastion. Fantastic. Fantastic. Very good. Okay. Now, we have learned two gateways: internet gateway, NAT gateway. Yes or no? Internet gateway, NAT gateway. None of these internet gateway and NAT gateway both are services, not servers. NAT gateway and internet gateway both are what? Services, not servers. Previously, in olden days, I still remember when I was architecting the VPC in starting days, there was no NAT gateway. NAT gateway is used for what purpose? Purpose. Public to private. But remember, whenever someone asks what is NAT and what it does, don't say first private IP to public. First say it provides internet to the private. This is the one you should answer it. Okay. And now, so my customer asked, hey, I need internet to my private subnet. So what I did was, at that time on those days, NAT gateway was not there. NAT is a small software, Nana. NAT is a small software. So what I need to do is I need to install that software on the EC2 instance. So I have launched one EC2 instance with T2 small or medium, and then I have installed NAT gateway inside it, and then I set it up. I added a route table. I created a route table, no, added a route. All traffic is routed to, instead of NAT gateway, I call it as NAT instance. NAT instance. Nana, NAT instance is a small EC2 instance. If something happened to that instance, the private subnet will fail to access internet. Yes or no? That small EC2 instance, I need to take care of high availability, security, everything I need to take care of it. Because all private subnet people are accessing internet that goes through this NAT instance. Every time this go down. Every time NAT instance will be going down. So for that, I need to have a high availability. So setup will increase, cost will increase. So, and then maintenance will increase, security issues will come. For that reason, since then, AWS came up with call it as NAT gateway, which is a server or service. Service. So do we need a NAT instance now? No need. So directly go with the NAT gateway. Which one is outdated? NAT instance is outdated. NAT gateway is outdated. NAT instance is outdated. So from now onwards, please use NAT gateway only, not NAT instance. If you get any certification questions also, do not vote for NAT instance. NAT and IGW are services, not servers. So here, NAT instance, NAT gateway. This is outdated. And NAT gateway is managed by AWS. Is it clear? Hmm? Online is clear, Nana? Okay. I'm asking another important question here. See, first listen the problem statement. One customer came to you and said, hey, please set up the VPC architect infrastructure. So what you did, you went and set up everything. Everything, 1 to 10 you did. And he said, I don't want internet access to the private subnet. What did he say? I don't want internet to the private subnet. What will you do? What will you do? You know the answer, but tell. What will you do? The first thing that you get is NAT gateway. NAT gateway. What will you do? So customer says, I don't want internet to the private subnet. What will you do? So what you do is, what you are thinking is, we don't want NAT. Yes or no? Just you are saying NAT gateway, NAT gateway. What NAT gateway? Or you need to say remove NAT gateway. Which one? Remove NAT. Nana, okay, now tell me one more important thing. How many types of subnets are there? Two. Public subnet, private subnet. That meaning, will you create only two subnets or will you create multiple subnets? Multiple, no. Mumbai region has how many subnets? Three. All three are how? What? Which subnets? Public subnet. So I can create public subnet 10 also, 20 also, private subnet 10 also, 20 also. However, how much ever I want, I can create. But the thing is here, if you remove the NAT completely, if you delete the NAT, other subnets will get affected or not? For that reason, what you need to do, instead of removing the NAT, what you do is do not add the route. Remove the route. What is the answer that you should say? Remove the route. In which routing table? Public routing table, private routing table? Because in private routing table only, we are routing to the NAT. So if you say, if your customer say, I don't want internet to my private subnet, then what you simply remove the route. If you remove the route, what will happen? All the traffic inside the private subnet, internet traffic, will come to NAT gateway. First of all, it will come to the route table and there is no route and it will stuck there. It will not go. Because that meaning you don't get internet access. Okay. But now you got to know, if the customer said, I don't want internet to the private subnet. So what you did, you remove the route. But customer said, I want to access AWS services. I want to access AWS services from private subnet. You want to access S3. You want to access Dynamo. You want to access RDS. You want to access everything. But do you have internet access now? Will your AWS services will work without internet? Then this stupid customer is saying, I don't want internet, but I want AWS services. Arey, howle, without internet, how your AWS services will work? But the question here is, I want this requirement. See, bloody real-time requirement. You understand the problem? The problem here is, customer doesn't need internet, full internet. He doesn't want full internet, but he want only AWS services. For this kind of requirement, AWS came up with another topic called VPC endpoints. What is it, Nana? Say that. VPC endpoint. What is that? This VPC endpoint is used to access only AWS services. Instead of routing to the NAT meaning full internet. NAT meaning full internet. So do you have the route to the NAT now? No. So what you need to route? You need to route it to VPC endpoint. So if you create a VPC endpoint and add that VPC endpoint to which routing table? Public or private? Private routing table. If you add this VPC endpoint to the private route table, so only this VPC endpoint will give the internet access only to AWS services. You understand what is VPC endpoint? VPC endpoint, it is used to access only AWS services without NAT. Without NAT. Now, if you add NAT, what will happen? NAT will have full internet access. Yes or no? NAT has full internet access. So here VPC endpoints are there. Now, if you want to access S3, you need to create VPC endpoint for S3. If you want to access DynamoDB, you need to create a VPC endpoint for DynamoDB. So like this, whichever the services that you want to access, those many endpoints you need to create. You got this point? You got this point? Everyone. Okay, now question for you here is, customer doesn't need internet access to the private subnet. What will you do? Okay, so it is taking time to that question to reach your brain. Okay, I'm asking the question again. So the question again is the same question I'm asking, but you're thinking too much. The question here is, customer doesn't need internet access to the private subnet. What will you do? Remove the route in the route table. Remove the route in the route table. But he need to have internet access. He need to have AWS services access. VPC endpoints. VPC endpoint should be attached to which routing table? Private routing table. Understood? Understood, everyone. Is it clear till here, everyone? Nana? Online, is it clear? No, that will not work. Ranjan. That is through your firewall, company firewall, need to handle it. Okay. Nana, any questions still here? So main topic here is, so setting up the entire VPC plus VPC endpoints is a topic here. Okay. So now let's move to another important topic. We call it as here CIDR. What is that? What is that? CIDR. So people call it as CIDR. Some people like me. Some people also call it as CEDAR. Some people call it as CIDR. So whichever it is pronunciation, it is same. So what we call here now? CIDR. CIDR is very posh, no? So I call it as CIDR. What is the full form of CIDR? Classless interdomain routing. Say that, Nana? Classless interdomain routing. What is this CIDR? We'll see. See, you have launched EC2 instance many times. Does the EC2 instance, we always work with the public IP. That EC2 instance also has private IP. Have you seen the private IP? Have you ever seen the private IP? I'm not saying, did you use private IP? But I'm saying, have you seen the private IP? Private IP you have seen, no? In detail box, you will have the private IP. Do you remember that the private IP is starting with what number? Huh? It who's that? 172. Which one? Remember? 172.31 dot something it says. So how does the AWS, who will provide these private IPs? AWS. How does the AWS know I need to provide the IP address with this range only? Yes or no? Can it send it to 110 series also? 192 series also? There are different series also. How does AWS knows? So this series only IP address should be assigned. So here I told you in the EC2 section, we need to create a VPC. What we need to create a? So for VPC, we need to give the range. Network range we need to give. So this is a VPC. Such a big VPC. Huh? This is the VPC, Nana. So while you're setting up a VPC, in AWS, remember in real time, while setting up a VPC in real time, you need to give the range. You need to give the range. That range is like this. That range is like this. 192.168.0.0/16. Sir, how did you give this number? This range will be provided by your network administrator. Who? Nana, we have AWS cloud. Where you are working from the company only, no? You are sitting inside the company and connecting to the AWS cloud. So your company and AWS should be in the same network or different network? Same network only, no? So for that reason, your company network administrator will be there, no? You need to talk to him and said, Babu, I am creating another network in the cloud, which should be same as our company network. So this company network administrator will give you this range. Will give you this range. Your company, now experienced people know this. Experienced people, your company network IP address will start with 192 series or not? It might start with 192 series or it might start with 10 series. Yes or no? Online people. Yes, see, experienced people. In the companies, we use mostly 192 series, 10 series, 172 series. Only these three things we use for company. That meaning company meaning private purpose or public purpose? Private. So most of the company will use this range. Which range is Nana? 192 range or 10 range or 172 range. These are called as private purpose. Rest everything are public. Rest are all public. Rest are all used for public IPs. So whenever you launch the EC2 instance, you will get the public IP address. No, sometimes it will start with some numbers 5, 64, 110, 111, some other numbers, right? So, but your public IP will never start with 192, 10, or 172 because that is reserved for private. So this range, this is called CIDR. What is this called? 192.168.0.0/16. We call it as what? CIDR. Or you can call it as network range. Who will provide this range? Your network administrator. Your company will have 192 series. For that reason, he will provide 192.168.0.0/16 series. Or he will provide 192.169 also, 164 also. However, whatever he like, he will give the range and you created the network in AWS. You're getting it? So here, 192.168.0.0, we call it as base IP. What is that? And this one we call it as subnet mask. What we call? /16 is there, no? What is that called? Subnet mask. What is that called, Nana? Subnet mask. So 192.168.0.0 is what IP? Base IP. /16 is what? Subnet mask. What is subnet mask? I'll tell you slowly. Is this clear? Okay, now let's say, for example, I am a builder. Oh, when, sir? Assume, think I'm a builder. So I'm giving you 1800 square feet space, flat. It's an open space. Tell me how many bedrooms will you create for this? All small babies you are. Huh? How many bedrooms? Triple bedroom, 3 BHK. So those who have flats, they'll understand. Because 1800 square feet easily. If you have 1200 square feet, double bedroom. 1800 or 1400, 1500, 16, 17, 18. Nana, square feet meaning what? Size. How much big size it is, those many rooms you can create. Yes or no? It is up to you or not. Rooms are up to you or not. I'm giving the size. That side is nothing but CIDR. That big room is called a VPC. It's a CIDR. Inside that you create small rooms. No. What are those rooms in your flat? We call it as rooms. Which is public or private? Public or private? Private. So you have the big rooms. Inside that you have isolated small rooms. Inside the VPC network range CIDR, can I create also small networks inside my VPC? That is called subnets. That is called, remember I told you this in EC2 section, right? In VPC is a big VPC. Inside that you create your own subnets. How many subnets? Many. How much big your VPC is, those many subnets you can create. How much big space you have, those many bedrooms you can have. So here, can I call it? Can I create? Subnets here? No, no, very important. See here. So I'm creating a subnet. 192.168.0.0 is the network range, right? I'm creating a subnet out of it, small baby out of it. 192.168. Instead of 0, I'll put 1.0. Which one? /24. What is 24? I'll tell slowly. Here, tell me one more subnet. 192.168. 2.0/24. Say that. One more. 192.168. 3.0. 3.0/24. What is 24? Don't worry, I'll talk about that. So now, what are all these three called? Subnets. What are all these called? Subnets. Now, how many subnets I have created? Is it only 3? Can I create more? We can create more. What are the subnets? So these are all, each subnets we call it a CIDR. What is it called? CIDR. What is the first CIDR? Tell me. 192.168. 1.0. What is the second one? 192.168. 2.0. What is the third one? 3.0. 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, 7.0, 10.0, 254.0 we can create. Those many subnets we can create. No. Do you remember in EC2 section I told you, each subnet is associated to one availability zone. Do you remember? Each subnet is associated to one availability zone. Tell me, this subnet, I'll associate to which availability zone? 1A. This one to this one in. If I have 4.0, that one? 1A. Very good. Which one? 1A. So remember, one subnet should be in one availability zone. One subnet can be in multiple availability zones at the same time? No. One availability zone can have multiple subnets? Super. One subnet should be in one availability zone at the same time. And here, one availability zone can have multiple subnets. Okay, Nana. So this subnet, I call it as public subnet. What is I call it as? Hey, sir, why did you call it as public subnet? Why not private? You like 1.0? No, because this subnet I am routing to internet gateway. That's why it has become public subnet. How do you identify one subnet is public or private? See whether it is routing to internet gateway or not. If it is routing to internet gateway, then we call it as public. Now I route it to the NAT gateway, this one. What network is this? What subnet is this? Private subnet. Private subnet. No, I'm routing it to VPC endpoint. Which subnet is this? Public or private? Private. You understand? You understand? Everyone, what is the difference between this subnet and this subnet? This subnet has full internet access. This has only AWS services access because it has a VPC endpoint. You getting it? Future architects. This is how you need to architect. How you need to architect. So, okay, is it clear till here, everyone? So why we call it as public subnet? Why we call it as private subnet? Because it is routed to internet. If it is routing to internet gateway, then it is called public subnet. If it is routed to the NAT gateway, it is called private subnet. And each subnet is associated to one availability zone. Simple. Okay, now let me talk here, sir. Why you have put /24? Why not /22, /20, /something? Why only 24? It's not 24. It's up to you. But I'll tell you. This is, what is /24 called? Subnet mask. What is that? Subnet. Nana, this subnet mask represent how many IP address that you get in one subnet. Subnet mask represent how many IP addresses that you get in that subnet. Let's say how many IP, let's say if it is getting 20 IP address, that meaning how many EC2 instances you can launch? 20. That meaning indirectly, your subnet mask represent how many EC2 instances that you can launch in that subnet. Getting it? I'll tell you one small formula. Should we do some small math? Huh? Okay. Say that 2 power 32 minus n. What is that? Say that. What is the formula? One more time. That is the formula. Now, if you use /24, let's see how many IP addresses we'll get. Replace n with your subnet mask. Tell me. 2 power 32 minus 24. How much? 2 power 2 power 8. How much is 2 power 8? 256. How much? Nana, inside this 256, you need to remove 5 IP address. How much now? 251. So now question is, sir, why did you remove 5? In each subnet, 5 IPs are reserved. In each subnet, 5 IPs are. In bus also, 5 seats are reserved now for ladies. Not only 5, but few seats are reserved. But that can we go and sit? Yes, sir. Boys, can you go and sit? She will come. Hey, live. Right. So here also, in each subnet, 5 IPs are reserved. You cannot assign that IP address to any of the machine. So what are those 5 IP address reserved? This is all certification questions. 5 IPs are reserved for each subnet. So those are .0, .1, .2, .255. How many are there now? How many are there? 5. What are those? So these are all certification questions. So .0 is assigned for the whole network. .1 is for routing purpose. .2 is for DNS purpose. .3 is for future purpose, for experiments. This one is for broadcasting. So inside each subnet, how many IPs are reserved? Except these 5 IPs, rest everything IPs will be reserved. So now tell me, if you have /24, how many IPs that you get it here? 251 IP address you will get. How many IPs you will get? 2. That meaning if you're using /24, how many EC2 instances you can launch? 251 EC2 instances you can launch in one subnet itself. You're getting it. Let's say, for example, now you're using /20. Tell me how much? 2 power 32 minus 20. How much? 2 power? How much? 2 power 12. How much? 4096. How many we need to remove? 5. 409. So if you use /20 here, how many IP addresses you can have? 4091. That meaning indirectly how many EC2 instances you can launch? 4091. Nana, chumma will you go and create this much big networks? Don't waste the IPs. Based on a requirement, you need to analyze and create the subnets. If you have a requirement, if a customer says that, hey, I'll be having only maximum 50 machines, will you go for /20 and big networks? Go for smaller. Okay. So now we have now you see here, how much is here? /16. Should we go with the /16 and see? Tell me. /16 we have given for the whole big VPC, no? So how much is for /16? 2 power 32 minus 16. How much? 2 power 16. And how much is 2 power 16? 65,536, if I remember. So minus 5. How much? 65,531. 1. How many? 65,000, man, IP addresses. So these kind of /16 you will be giving it as a big range. Subnets give it as a small ranges. So that meaning for /16 range, in total, how many IP addresses that you get? 65,000. Now if you go for /8, you will get even more. You understand? Okay. So one more thing. In security group, you select my IP, no? You security group, you select my IP. Whenever you select my IP, there you get /32. Did you observe? Yes or no? Whenever you select my IP, automatic IP will get selected and /32 you will get it. So 32 meaning my IP meaning only your IP or everyone's IP? Only one IP, right? So replace this. Put it here. 2 power 32 minus 32. How much? 2 power? How much is 2 power 0? 1. So how many IPs? 1. /32 meaning how many IPs? Only one IP. You getting it? So this is how you need to architect it. Now you know. Now you know what is the CIDR of the VPC? Say that. What is the CIDR of the VPC? 192, 168, 0016. Say that. 192, 168, 0016. That is the VPC CIDR. How many subnets will create? Here I put 3. You can create multiple, but I'll create only 2 now. How many? 2. Public subnet to private subnet. What is the CIDR of public subnet? 192, 168, 1.0. Which one? 1.0/24. What is the private subnet CIDR? 192.168, 2.0/24. I created only 3. Why here? Because I don't have space. Otherwise, I can give big belly there. Right? Okay, now, Nana, you know that's 10 steps, no? The 10 steps. Now repeat the 10 step with the real time. What is the first step? What is the CIDR now? Create VPC, you said. What is the CIDR of the VPC? 190.168.00/. Super. So what is the second step? Create internet gateway and attach to the VPC. What's the next step? Create a public subnet. What is the CIDR? 192.168, 1.0/. Super. Next, 4. Create a, what is the CIDR? 2.0. Fantastic. What's the next step? Create NAT gateway. NAT gateway in which subnet? Public subnet with elastic IP. Next, 6. Create public RT. All traffic meaning what? Routed to internet gateway. Which subnet is associated? Public subnet is associated. Next step. Create private routing table. Routed to NAT. Which subnet? Private subnet is NAT. Super. What is the next step? Create a security group. Create a security group. And allow what? SSH, RDP, depend, etc. Depend upon the requirement. What is the next step? Launch EC2 instance in public subnet. What is that called? This is called Bastion, or you call it as jump server. And another in private subnet. What is that called? Private server. You can say any server, database server, application server. I call it as private server. Then finally, Try connecting to private server through BAST. Khatam. Tata. Bye bye. Understood? Clear? Huh? This is so-called difficult topic, people will say. Tell me honestly, VPC is the easiest topic for us or not? I told you already. VPC will become the easiest topic in our course. Did I say that? Online. But I told you, if you catch the pulse of the VPC, it is easy. Yes or no? If you catch the pulse of the VPC, it is easy. Otherwise, what sir is talking, right? So for reassert students, VPC is Jujube. So what we do tomorrow is we'll do the practicals on what we have done till now. And there is also one more topic left, which is called, Nana, two VPCs can talk to each other by default, if required. Yes. How? Through VPC peering. What is that? VPC peering. You have one VPC, you have another VPC, and these two VPCs talk to each other. That means this EC2 instance and another EC2 instance will talk to each other. No, in between what you need to create? A bridge you need to create. What is that bridge called? Peering. What peering? VPC peering. What peering? VPC peering. That VPC peering we'll discuss. Tomorrow we'll do the practicals on this. And then after that, day after tomorrow, we'll discuss this VPC peering. And also, you don't forget DevOps. Huh? So we'll discuss the DevOps also. Okay. Super. Any questions, Rana? Aurora not. Redshift is basically for big data. But if required, I'll send some reference for that. Aurora, it's similarly like how we create a RDS databases. But in Aurora, we have server-based, serverless. We discuss serverless concept, no? Capacity units, where? DynamoDB. So similar concept in Aurora also. Aurora is compatible with your Postgres and MySQL, right? So it is similar things only. You can set it up, no issues. Okay, take the screenshots. So if you want to go to Redshift, there we have a concept called ETLs and all, extract, transform, and load, which required scripting, codings, and all. So Redshift is also very easy. If you go to there is also called it as master nodes, slave nodes will be there. Similar concepts, RDS. I told you, if you know one database concept in AWS, rest are all same. Elastic also we did the same thing. Similarly, Redshift also, if you got it, there will be a create server, create it, select security groups, volumes, database, instance types, etc. Similar things will be there. Sir, NACL additional security we have to create in subnet level. Correct. Remember NACL we discussed in EC2 section? NACL will come here. Each subnet will have its own NACL. Okay. Take the screenshot. What's that? I have not joined classes on Tuesday. 26th. Okay. Fine. Can you give the final CC for today, please? CC with smile. Guys, remember, everyone have their own requirements. Someone asks DRS, someone asks something else, because AWS has unlimited services. Okay. So whatever is very much necessity for the real time, we have discussed all those things. There are so many services we have learned. But if you feel that, so there is also one more service that, you can do it by yourself now, because you are in the position now to understand yourself on AWS technology. So if any new service come into picture, you can, that is the reason why I was giving you exploring topics, remember? So it is very hard to cover all hundreds of services, correct? Whatever is there in our solution architect is we covered. And also, I'll give you the practice papers. There, it's online only. There, you might get a new service. You might get new service. Let's say there are few services and a bunch of services. You need to know what is the service you use for. That's it. Like RDS databases, S3 buckets. Like this, there might be 2-3 services will be there. If you know the definition of that service, that is sufficient. So in that certifications question also, you might get something called some other new service. Let me see whether on Saturday, if I get a time, I'll cover that definitions also of a few services. If not, you can in that practicals itself, in that practice paper itself, you will get the neat definitions in the bottom. So you can keep that in mind and they can clear it. Okay. Okay. So many people left already. Okay. Let's do one thing. I told you I'll be giving the practice papers. No. So that practice papers is this. But before that, did you submitted feedbacks? See, all, teams are sitting. Some people here. No, those who have submitted, that's good. So it is not that if you submit this only, I will be giving practice. It's not like that. So I will not be asking this question again to submit the feedbacks, but still it is always good to submit the feedbacks. That's the only thing that you can do. Don't be lazy on that. Okay, come on. If you lazy on this small feedback, and you will be doing so many things in future. Come on, you cannot be lazy like that. Okay, so please take your time and submit it. And yes, no, okay, we'll check. There is a website called WizLabs. What is that? WizLabs. So WizLabs CEO, I know, he's Mr. Krishna, a friend of mine. So this WizLabs is a very, very, very commonly used platform. It's also training platform. So when I was doing certifications, professional level, security specialist certifications, I also went through these practice papers and we also cleared so many, like me, many people cleared the certification. Since then, I started giving this information to all my students so that whatever you have learned from me, from my pains and everything, technical things that you have learned, that and these practice papers will help you to clear the certification. So if you see here, training library is there, no? So many things are there. Forget about all these things. Go to cloud computing. Which one? AWS. And which one is the most popular here? Solution Architect Associate. Click on it. And video course is not required. Hands-on, not required. Sandbox, not required. Only you select the practice text. And you see this, how much it is here? 649. So it's already 50% off is there because due to Christmas. And there is also, for my students, there is a coupon code called WizRiaz. What is that? Wiz, W-H-I-Z, Wiz Riaz. So as the coupon 50%, they have already applied. Whether my coupon will work or not, we'll check it. If it works, even though you will get even more discount there. Okay. So what you do is select this practice paper, add to cart. First of all, sign up. Okay. Without sign up, you cannot do. Sign up, add to cart and purchase this. And what you do is in these practice papers, Nana, I'm telling you, first time you might fail. Second time you might fail. Third time you also fail. No problem. I also failed initially to give you confidence. Right? But because these certification questions are all scenario based. You need to read the question, understand, and answer the question. There are few questions which is really straightforward. What is EC2? What is S3? What is NoSQL service in AWS? Like this, they have straight questions, but there are few questions are which little bit tricky. So go through that questions and try to practice all the test papers. So here you have some 6 tests or something, 12 tests are there. Practice that until you get 100 out of 100, full marks. And while doing this practice, you might get new services also. Don't get scared. Don't get scared. Oh my God, I got a new service, API gateway or something, Fargate or something. No, if you know the there clearly they will give the definition. Keep that in mind, right? So in DevOps, I'll be covering few more things. Don't worry. In couple of 2 days, we'll cover so many things also. But what I'm saying is, whenever you get any new service, don't get scared. Don't get irritated. Just read it and then answer it and keep that in mind. Okay, na? Because sometimes in your when you're writing in your academics, sometimes teacher will teach everything, but sometimes you will get out of box questions, no? That doesn't mean that yeah, you should not write. It is through the concepts only. They'll come up with the new things. Okay, so this is where what you need to do is this is where you need to practice it. And then what I can suggest is, anyways, we have completed this course, okay, and you are really fired up with this AWS technology. And how many of you are interested to write the certifications? How many are you interested to write the certifications? 1, 2, online, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So many are there, right? But what I suggested is everyone do it. Certification cost is $150, less than 15,000, less than 50,000, 15, 15,000. So this 15,000, don't think, sir, 15,000 is too much. No, don't think. 15,000, you are setting up your career. 15,000, you book it. Very good. 50% offer, very nice. Okay. So you book it, you clear the certification, and this certification is valid for how many years? 3 years. So once you clear the certification, you no need to look back for 3 years, and you will get lot of opportunities with this certification. Anyways, you have learned AWS from me. Anyways, you are doing the practice papers. Easily, you can clear the certification. Easily. Without learning all these things also, if you go and sit, you can pass. Because you need to, if you have listened my classes carefully. Understood, Nana? So please, everyone, try to complete the certification. This will be helpful for your career. And also this certification, don't do it after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Sir, I don't have money. I'll do it next month, third month. By the time you'll forget the topics. As you have learned the topics till now, so maybe next 15 days, 20 days, or maximum 1 month, book the certification now itself, so that you will get a fear. Or next 10 days after that, I have an exam. So you'll be practicing so much, right? So like that, you'll be clearing the certifications. Okay, na? Good. Okay. Any questions online? If not, can you give the final CC for today, please? CC with smile. Okay. How to book the certification? Just go to Google and just type AWS certification login. Guys, see here. Go here. AWS certification login. Do you see this? AWS training and certification. Go here. Sign in. So here, sign in. Okay. Not choose the method of signing. They have changed this bloody. Not logging. So you can log in with Amazon. Okay. So once you sign in, you will get a profile. There you have an option called book appointment, and you can book it. It's normal how you book your theater cinema tickets. Similarly, you need to book the tickets. And someone asked, how do you get the 50% discount? Once you write the certification, next certification, you'll get 50% discount. In your profile itself, they will mention the coupon code. So next time when you're booking the certification, so if you provide this coupon code, if you give this coupon to others also, it will be helpful for other people also, like your friends and all. Okay, Nana. So that is all, guys, for today. And I'll see you tomorrow with the next practicals of this VPC. Until then, take care. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.